Okay, so this video I'm going to show you, or talk to you about our pigment colours and colouring. The colouring process, or part of the colouring process within French polishing and furniture restoration. This is the use of pigment powders as a way of disguising an area on the surface of what you're working on that you don't like, basically. So it could be an inlay, a bad repair, or a mark that you can only get away with colouring rather than trying to sort of remove it physically from the piece. So there's many applications for this process we're going to show you. So this is a quick demonstration of the powders that we use and the colours that we use within it as well, the spirit colours that we use. I'm holding this board in front of me. This is an onion board, and I use this as a palette, and it's an onion board for the reason it peels away like the use of an onion. So let's get on with it. Let's go. So yellow ochre. Let's start off with this one first. Yellow ochre is a natural earth colour. These are hewn from the earth. They're dug up and directly from the earth. I went to Roussillon in France many years ago now, where you could actually walk around the open mines where they mine the colours, the ochre and umbers, and you're walking around with it, and it's actually on your feet as you're walking around. Quite amazing. But yellow ochre, this is a brilliant colour. We use this a lot, an awful lot. Raw umber, another one that we use quite a lot. You get raw umber and burnt umber. Raw umber, burnt umber rather, is just raw umber, but this has been burnt, so it's slightly darker in its colour again. So there's that one. Use that one a lot. Titanium white. Oh, here's a metal colour. So titanium white, titanium dioxide. This we use for obliterating a surface. So if there's a dark mark, that the only way you can get rid of it is by using the titanium white, really. You might blend it with the other colours, but I personally like to start with just a pure white if I'm going to do it. It's rare that I do, because you really are painting the surface, obliterating what's underneath, and you're starting fresh by graining over the top. So be careful with titanium white, but when circumstances dictate using it, you can't use anything else really. You just got to use titanium white. Right, red lead, another one of the metal colours, red lead being from lead. I think it's lead oxide, I'm not sure, but anyhow, it's a real metal colour, very, very strong, so a very powerful colour, red lead. Don't use it that often. Chrome again, lemon chrome rather. Yeah, we use that a bit more, but being careful because they're quite powerful colours, these, when you start using them, you understand what I mean. Burnt sienna. Now, burnt sienna, again, a natural earth colour, slightly warmer than the umber together, and again a good blend when you're using them in a combination. And one of my favourites here, orange chrome. Got to be careful with this bad boy. Orange chrome is really, really strong, but it will give you the warmth you need when you're dealing with the umbers and the ochres, and it will give you that lovely sort of mahogany colour, the walnut colour, teak colour. When you blend it, you've got to be very careful. I should demonstrate this in a minute when I'm using the brush. So I think we're there. Oh no, let's have a chat about these. So these are spirit colours. I mean, these are vessels that we use. I use these in my polishing kit. Spirit oak, I can't tip it over, but it's a dry powder that is dissolved with methylated spirits. Methylated spirits, I'll grab the French polishes a little. But here is methylated spirits or denatured alcohol. It comes in a powder form. You put a little spoonful into the pot and dilute it with methylated spirits. Depending on how much powder you in, or how much powder you put in, or how much methylated spirits you put in, depends on how strong it is. Spirit oak, we like a lot. We use it quite a lot. Spirit black, obviously, again, use that quite a lot. That's for grain, the black, blended with other colours. And spirit red, which is, again, very, very strong spirit red. But all of these colours, the spirit colours, used in combination with the pigment colours, because the pigment colours become sort of more opaque. They can obliterate the surface, whereas the spirit colours are very much more translucent. They allow light through them, but at the same time as colouring them. The spirit colours, we were using colour fads, so we're on colour fadding, but I'll show you that's a different thing altogether, colour fadding, but it's again as part of that colouring process that you use when you're French polishing. So you've got to start off with staining, grain filling, fadding, colouring. Colouring, this is one of the colouring processes. My favourite one, actually. I love doing this one. So here we have methylated spirits, special pale polish, French polish, shellac dissolved. That's what's in there, and methylated spirits. So this is one of our bottles that we've used for many years, and that's just exactly it. We use that for fadding and French polishing, as in the rubber charged with this, and it's the same stuff we use for colouring. Right, let's get a brush. Let's get a brush right here. So this is the brush I like to use when colouring, for colouring brushes, but they're pencil mops, French polishers mops. I think that's a number 2, so this is a number 2 mop, and it's pure squirrel hair in here. I know it's not exactly frowned upon at the moment, but anyway, it's squirrel hair. Gloss over that one. It's a lovely, soft, fluffy material, as you'd expect. It's perfect to make shapes with out of the filling, and I only use one brush when I'm colouring, so I do all of the colouring process with this brush, and I can point it. You see I'm stroking it now. I can get such a fine point on here. It'd be great for graining. Okay, so I'll show you how we use it on the onion board as my palette. First of all, I'll dip it maybe in some meths and polish, doesn't matter which way round it goes. I'm just going to charge the filling, the brush itself, with polish. The meth dilutes it. If you just use polish on its own, it becomes too sticky and gloopy, so you've got to dilute it with some methylated spirits. And then I just dip into whatever colour I want to start with. In this instance, I've gone for the yellow ochre there. You can see what it looks like. The more I work it onto the pad itself, the palette board here, the more it sort of thins out on the board. It gets weaker and weaker in its make, but it charges the filling. The filling itself gets charged with it, and it goes inside fills the brush, so it'll last for quite a long time. If I dip it in there again into the mess polish, let's pick up this orange one. Here we are. I'll show you the orange chrome. Look how strong this is. It's really powerful. I'll get a watch of it on there. Look at that dip. Look how strong that orange is. And again, if I can show you how fine, by just gently touching the board, you can get these really fine lines, or you can get heavier lines, depending how much pressure, how much weight you put on the brush. Dip it again, let's charge. You can at any point, see it's quite orangey now. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to wash the brush through, clean it away, dip it back in the polish, so I've got a clean brush. Let's go for, let's go for titanium, well not titanium one, you can't see it, lemon chrome. See how powdery it is. You can just use it as a mixing board. Charge the brush, that filling, so it's completely charged. So when you're using it, applying it to the surface, as you pull the brush across, it pulls the colour from the filling, and it will keep on doing that. Okay. So a combination of colours. So I generally will use the yellow ochre, the raw umber, and orange chrome. That will give you your basic walnuts, teak, mahogany colours, and then depending on the area around it, I'll blend it with other colours, and the spirit colours. So I'll show you the spirit colours. Let's go for a little bit of spirit oak. I'm just going to wash that brush out. Very strong. Look at that, it's a lovely. You see how that colour, that says spirit oak, it doesn't mean it goes on oak. It's the colour it represents, so it can go everywhere. But that's a lovely sort of brown colour. And you can mix these colours together. You can mix the spirit red with the spirit oak, the spirit black, and make your own colour up. But you can see how that just washed over an area will already start to tone down and darken and enhance an area. Quite nice for doing grain, for graining, spirit oak, and if I put a little bit of spirit black in there as well, again, spirit black's really strong. I'm going to work it into the brush there so it's going to mix with all those colours I've already got. You never have black, straight black as grain. It never is. It's a brown colour, it's all different colours, so look at the piece you're working on. And again there, so it's like a browny colour. How do you describe it? Yeah, it's black with brown in it. It's grainy sort of colour. Again, you can warm it up for something like rosewood, which has got quite distinctive grain in it. Put a bit of orange chrome in with your black, and you'll get a lovely sort of rosewood grain. Okay, so what the idea is, you build up layers and layers and layers of colour. You start with your base colour, which is your lightest colour. That's what you want. You want to be looking at the piece of wood, just stare at it for a few minutes and find the lightest colour to start with. That's your base colour, and then graduate through the darkest colours going on last, but they're only small things like grain. The other way to do it is to break up an area of colouring, is to just do small areas at a time. Don't do the whole piece if it's a large area. You can do small areas at a time. I'll show you these processes through other videos, but I wanted to show you what it is that we're using here, what I use all the time in the workshop, and a variation along this theme of using pigment colours. So I hope that helps explain it a little bit better when you see me using it. Thank you for watching our videos. If you hit the subscribe button, which is just down here, just to the sort of left of Reg here maybe, hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell, and you'll be notified when we upload new videos.